Well, this is it. Happy Election Day, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Will Marotti Show here. Your host, Will Marotti, your common sense evangelist. And I am cautiously optimistic as we have entered the election day. I was very excited last night to hear some big news, which I'll share with you in a moment. But I'll tell you what I'm really excited. I'm really excited about our election show tonight. We're going to have a great show tonight. 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. We chose that because the polls close at 8 on the East Coast for the most part. And we think we'll get some early response in. So we are excited. We're going to our first live audience. Amazing. And it's going to be a good show. We have 5 guests lined up for tonight's program. So you're going to enjoy. I think you're going to enjoy what we're going to offer. And we've got a lot to talk about, but we really, if we're ever going to start early in prayer and any day, we ought to do it today, because I think, I was just saying to AT, so many times we've heard, oh, this is the most important election of our lifetime, blah, 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 blah. This is it. This is it. The outcome of this election will affect our lives for years to come. And we need God's help to get the right candidate over the finish line. So would you take a moment, please? Join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we thankfully come to you this morning. We're grateful, God, grateful for the ways that you bless us, how you're kind and gracious to us. We're most thankful for the gift of salvation, for those who fully embrace Jesus as Lord and Savior. We pray, God, that you would grow your people, strengthen your people, protect your people. Just reading this morning in Psalm 106 and seeing how faithful, even when they weren't faithful to you, you protected Israel all the way during their flight from slavery to freedom, and many, many miracles that you performed. So God, you are still the same God, yesterday, today, and forever. We believe those miracles can still happen, and we need a miracle today for our country, Lord. We need the right candidate to cross the finish line. And we're hoping that that's what happened. God, we don't pretend to know your will, your way, all for our lives, for our country, for the future, certainly. But we really do believe, God, that Donald Trump is the right person right now. And so we do pray that you'd protect and bless he and his family, J.D. Vance and his family. Let there be no violence at polling places, no interruptions. If there's those that are planning on cheating, we pray their plans would be destroyed, totally be a fair election, an honest election, one that we can trust. And no matter the outcome, Lord, help us to always remember that we are your followers first. We are citizens of heaven first. And you are still on the throne, and you are still in charge, no matter who is the leader. And so give us that confidence, give us that comfort today, no matter what happens, and help us today and tonight to bring honor and glory to you. Bless us and help us. And we thank you, and we praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. Yeah, it's a big day. No matter what platform, whether you're watching this live or delayed, thank you so much. Those of you on Facebook, thank you. X, Rumble, YouTube. Please, if you haven't already, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. It's free. It helps us. Any other platform, of course, like, comment, share. Your participation in that way builds our algorithms so that the show goes out to more people. You understand they control that. I've got over 6,000 followers just on Facebook, but I promise you the show doesn't go to 6,000 followers. It doesn't happen that way. And so the more activity there is, comments, thank you, amens, thank you. Hey, let me, AT, scroll back a little bit just so I can start saying good morning to folks in the chat room. We got quite a few already. And let me know in the chat room also as we go through the show. Let me know if you've already voted. Luke, good morning. Barry, good morning. Donna T, good morning. Josh, good morning. Judy P., good morning, with Greg down in Florida. Thank you. Barbara A., good morning. Daniel, good morning. Caitlin, good morning. Carol L., good morning. Matt, good morning. Jeff B., good morning. Carl W., good morning. Lawrence K., good morning. Judy O., good morning. Doreen, good morning. Paul M., good morning. Deborah, good morning. Elaine P., good morning. Lori's here. Okay, all the world is good now. Lori L. I get a confidence when I know you're watching, Lori. Terry G., good morning. Dennis, good morning. Dorothy, good morning. Jean K., good morning. Ruben, keep rolling that a little bit. Keep rolling. Okay, good. Ruben, good morning. Mary Ann, good morning. Let's see. Mark, good morning. Hope to see you tonight. Let's see. Boy, I'm telling you, my eyes are struggling today with my allergies. At it's hard for me to even make out the words. Let's see. Barbara, good morning. Melody, good morning. Luke, good morning. Eric, good morning. Amen. Amen. Amens are coming in. Yeah. So this is great. Glad to have you guys. Jill LG, good morning. Let's see who else. Lynn H, good morning. Let's see. Any other good mornings here? A lot of amens come in. Thank you. See, even those amens. Oh, amens help the algorithm. And their comments, right? So like, comment, share. Very good. So let me just give you. Should I wait to tell them who the guests are tonight, or? Yeah, I'll wait. I'll wait until the second half hour of who the guests are going to be. We've got an all-star lineup tonight. I couldn't be happier with our lineup. And we may be adding a sixth. I don't know. We're still waiting for a response. But we've got a great lineup tonight. We got a first-time guest coming on tonight. Very excited about that. And several returning guests. It's just going to be a great show. It's going to be a great show. Polls are up. We're going to have election results on a big screen. We're gonna. I don't know. Somebody asked me the other day, At, if we're gonna flash the audience, or we're gonna pan the audience. I don't know. I mean, we probably could if you want. If you don't want to be on, it's fine. But I'm excited about it. It's gonna be a live audience, and I hope you're coming ready to be live. I hope you're ready to cheer at the right time, and no booze. We're gonna maintain only. We're gonna pull a Kamala Harris. We're gonna have a joyful broadcast tonight. Thank you, At. A lot of people have voted. This early voting is tremendous. I mean, the numbers are tremendous. So let me tell you a couple of things I've got here that I think are Nikki Haley. You know, and again, I like Nikki Haley, but the fact that she went after Trump so hard was a turnoff to me. But Nikki Haley published yesterday an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal, and I want to read it to you. Millions of people love Donald Trump. Millions of people hate him. Each group will vote accordingly. But there are also millions whose views on Mr. Trump are mixed. They like much of what he did as president, agree with his policies, but they dislike his tone, can't excuse his excesses, such as and I don't think this is necessary for the conduct on January 6th. It's just, again, more nonsense. A third group of Americans will determine whether or not the former president returns to the White House. And to that group, I'll point out, Mr. Trump isn't the only one on the ballot. This election is a referendum. It's a choice between he and Kamala Harris. I don't agree with Mr. Trump 100% of the time. Nobody does. Thank you, Nikki. This election... but I do agree with him most of the time, and I disagree with Ms. Harris nearly all of the time. Americans today face an average of $13,000 in higher annual costs than they did 4 years ago. Prices on everything, food, gasoline, utility bills, insurance have gone up. This is the direct result of the Biden-Harris agenda, which has stoked inflation, struck families with this big bill. Americans are stuck with another bill, national debt, reached $36 trillion. Thanks in part to Ms. Harris's tie-breaking votes on the grossly misnamed American Rescue Plan and Inflation Reduction Act. Didn't have anything increased inflation. There's also national security. Harris-Biden has made the world a far more dangerous place. Our southern border is our most pressing threat. Ms. Harris has made it dramatically worse. The debacle in Afghanistan not only created a new terrorist state, it also signaled weakness that sparked Russia's war against Ukraine. This, again, is an op-ed that Nikki Haley sent to the Wall Street Journal. The Trump administration would be different. It wouldn't be perfect, but I agree with Mr. Trump to keep taxes lower, cut them more. I agree that we need to roll back trillions of dollars in special interest handouts, and I agree that we need to expand American energy to empower American families and job creators while making us less dependent on foreign energy. I agree with Mr. Trump that America should be strong, far stronger than it is today. With he as president, Russia didn't invade another country. Iran was on its heels. China received serious pushback for the first time in decades, and our southern border was far more secure. The world was unsafe under Biden-Harris, and we shouldn't expect that to change under a Harris administration. Will Mr. Trump do some things I don't like in a second term? I'm sure he will. If that was the question before our voters, I may imagine Trump might lose. But that isn't the question. The politicians don't get it right every time. For those of us who are clear-eyed, see Mr. Trump's flaws, and are honest enough to acknowledge them, the question is whether we'd be better off under his policy or under his opponents. Taxes, spending, inflation, immigration, energy, national security, candidates are miles apart, and Mr. Trump is clearly the better choice, says Nikki Haley. So that, there are people, a lot of people like that. Listen, before Trump announced he was running again, I was very pro Nikki Haley. What soured me on Nikki Haley was her just merciless attacks on Trump, because I thought it was unfair. But I'd rather have her endorsement than not have her endorsement. Here's the biggest one of the night. This came out late last night. Trump was finishing up. He did 4 rallies yesterday. Now, I thought that the one we were watching in Pennsylvania was the last rally last night. It wasn't. He went to Michigan after that and was early in the morning before it was finished. While that was going on, Joe Rogan was podcasting with Elon Musk. And Elon Musk made a great and powerful argument for Trump. Rogan said, if it wasn't for him, we'd be blanked. Yes, for the record, that's an endorsement of Donald Trump, Rogan added. Quote, the great and powerful Elon Musk, if it wasn't for him, and what he was talking about was Twitter. Joe Rogan believes if Elon had not bought Twitter and suffered the slings and arrows of all that came along with that we'd be in a different place, because at least now Twitter is an open, honest platform. And without that, and still has gazillions of followers, without Musk buying X, that would not have happened. And so, again, he said, for the record, yes, this is Joe Rogan. Quote, for the record, yes, that's a Trump endorsement. The endorsement followed accompanied a 2-hour and 45-minute podcast, which Musk appeared on. The billionaire has poured millions of dollars into the effort to elect Trump. The endorsement came after Trump's appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience. Now, you had Joe Rogan on. Joe Rogan had Trump on. He had J.D. Vance on. I don't know what the numbers were for, but the last time I saw, it was like 40 million people watched the Trump-Rogan podcast. I think, there's a lot of times when you look back over elections and people point to and say that was the defining moment. You look back at Kennedy-Nixon in the 60s, first televised debate, first TV debate, and they said that Nixon refused makeup, didn't want anything. Kennedy took the makeup. Kennedy looked, of course, younger look to begin with, but when you saw the two on TV, even black and white, Kennedy was composed. He was made up. Nixon was perspiring. He looked drawn out. He looked pale. And they say that debate, as much as anything, put Kennedy in the winning column. You think of, again, Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton's campaign was going nowhere until he showed up on the Arsenio Hall show and played saxophone, and polls began changing right after that. You look at Hillary Clinton. George Bush, the father, made one statement that cost him the election. Read my lips, no new taxes. What did he do? He raised taxes. He was out. Hillary Clinton, clearly, and everyone will agree on this, when Hillary Clinton said you can take most half of Trump supporters and put them in what I call the basket of the deplorables. That title became a badge of honor for many Trump supporters, and that was probably the biggest upset in the history of American politics, because people gave Trump no chance of winning. All the polls were wrong, all the odds were wrong, everything was wrong, and you saw how the left just completely disintegrated when Trump won. I think if you look back at this election, and there's been a lot of twists and turns of this election, I thought the first attempt of the assassination of President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, nicking his ear and blood coming down the face and him fight. I thought that was it. When that happened, I said to myself, the election's over. But then it wasn't, because Kamala had a relatively strong convention. She was anointed as the and everybody was like, Biden. No Democrats wanted Biden. So when they got Biden out and put Kamala in, oh my gosh, we got somebody who can speak, who can walk and talk at the same time. Anybody, Gumby would have been a better candidate than Biden at that point for the Democrats. And so a lot of enthusiasm, false confidence, because she was the most disliked vice president in history. Then she became the darling of the left. But I think if you want to look back at anything, I'm going to tell you that I believe what made the difference in this election, should Trump win, and I believe he is the Joe Rogan interview. I think the fact that Trump went on Rogan, the fact that Harris would not go on Rogan, and Trump was Trump for 3 hours and just talked to folks the way he normally does, I think that Joe Rogan, more even than although it was foolish, the Joe Biden comment about Trump's supporters being garbage. And again, that the joke, the ill-timed, insensitive joke by the comedian, I don't think if you're of Puerto Rican descent and you were going to vote for Trump before that joke, I think you're going to vote for Trump today, because it was a bad joke by a loser comedian. And quite honestly, if we want to be frank about it, Puerto Rico has a massive problem with garbage. I talk to people frequently because we have a large, our church is a very integrated church. We have a very multi-ethnic environment. And so we have people in our church that go to Puerto Rico regularly to visit family. I'm told that there's a massive problem with garbage in Puerto Rico. So, was it the right thing to say? No. Was it insensitive? Yes. But Trump didn't say it. The comedian said it. But what did get said by a United States president was that Trump supporters are garbage. The only thing I see floating out there are Trump supporters. That was what Biden said, no matter how they lied and tried to clean it up. He was talking about Trump. So I think that was big. But I think the Joe Rogan interview, when you look back at it, history will record that the Joe Rogan interview, as much as anything, may have solidified the victory for Donald Trump today. And I don't expect to find out today. I don't know about you. Here's a question. So let's see. People voted yes. Let's see. Do we have any? Megyn Kelly that's a big deal. Megyn Kelly endorsed Trump last night. That was pretty big. I'll tell you what was big in Pittsburgh. Huge. And I saw the crowd response when Roberto Clemente's son came out to the stage and endorsed Trump. That was huge. The crowd loved that endorsement of the great, legendary Roberto Clemente's son. Legendary Roberto Clemente, but when his son came out and endorsed Trump, that was massive. The crowd loved it. But the Joe Rogan endorsement late last night is the biggest podcast in the world is Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan appeals to young men, by and large. His audience scales male. His audience scales younger. I'm not saying older men don't watch. I'm not saying women don't watch. But the audience primarily scales younger men. That is a gigantic feather in the Trump cap at this point. Let's see. Senate races are very tight. But most people, the general opinion, conventional wisdom is saying that the Republicans will flip the Senate. Maybe by a vote, but they'll flip the Senate. Most observers believe Republicans will control the Senate. They only need to take 2 seats to take firm control. And if they tie and Trump wins, then J.D. Vance is the tiebreaker in the Senate. Let's see. Senate races that are look relatively strong are the race in Ohio against Democrat Sherrod Brown. That looks like a solid support. It looks like Bernie Moreno has a good chance to unseat Sherrod Brown in Ohio. That's a big deal. There's a Senate race in Montana that looks very good for Republicans. There is a Senate race. Well, Pennsylvania, I mean, that's a big deal. But Bob Casey's the endorsed candidate. He's the incumbent Democrat candidate. He even tried to tie himself to Trump late on. But Republican Dave McCormick has been gaining ground. And there seems to be great momentum for Trump in Pennsylvania. The question is, does the momentum for Trump and the votes for Trump, does that pull the down ballot votes across the finish line? Does that help Republican candidates? Many think it will. And so there's a lot of excitement right now. There's a lot of optimism right now. I think all Republicans are cautiously optimistic. I'm amazed at some people who are just coming right out and saying that this is going to be a Trump landslide. Again, if it is, then you got to just throw polls away. You got to say polls are completely untrustworthy because 16, all the polls were heavily Hillary. If Trump wins by, again, not even a landslide, if Trump wins by 5 points, let's say Trump wins 54 to 49, something like that. That might as well be a landslide. And let's see what the Electoral College, if Trump has a big night in the Electoral College, you have to say, man, this is so damning to the polls. I mean, here's the final Emerson poll came out yesterday. And battleground state. Emerson's been very consistent. You know, they talk about these shy voters, and I had a laugh last night. I said, there are no shy Harris voters. I got a call from a college student at, I don't know where it was, Quinnipiac or Wesleyan yesterday, making sure I was going to vote. And I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. Yeah, okay, fine. I happen to be Republican, and go Trump. You know, that's what I was thinking. But there are no shy Harris voters. But another poll, 28% of people that were polled said they had lied to a family member about who they're voting for. I don't think there's too many people lying about voting for Harris. I think they're dumb enough to be proud about that. But I think there's a lot of shy Trump voters, and we could be shocked. This is the Emerson final poll, came out yesterday. In Arizona, Trump's up 50 to 48. Georgia, Trump's up 50 to 49. Michigan, Harris is up 50 to 48. North Carolina, Trump's up 49 to 48. Harris in Nevada, it's tied 48-48. Pennsylvania, Trump 49, Harris 48. Wisconsin, Trump 49, Harris 49. The pathway to victory for Trump is clear. Everybody's saying this. It's Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. But if Trump could pull off Michigan and Wisconsin, that's a whole new race. So we'll see. And I don't know that we'll know tonight. How many of you think we're going to know tonight? Let me see in the chat room. How many of you think we'll know by early tomorrow morning that we'll know the results? Early tomorrow morning. How many of you think we'll know by early tomorrow morning? I'm looking for a yes or a no. What do you think? Let's hear it. A lot of folks in the chat room today, huh, Alex? Wow. This is awesome. Yes or no? Will we know the results by early tomorrow morning? I mean, I think we in 16 it was like 3:30, 4 o'clock when they declared Trump the winner. it could be that kind of a night. So let's see. No. No, doubt it. No. Wow. Okay. All right. So far, you guys don't think. No. You won't think we'll know early this morning. Okay. So see, no. The only way. One, yes. Again, I'm not saying tonight, Gene. I'm saying early tomorrow morning, like 3, 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's when we knew in 2016. Oh, wait, stop. Matt says by 11 p.m. Wow. Now listen, if it's by 11 p.m., it is a massacre. If it's for Trump, there's no way Harris will do that. But if we know by 11 p.m. tonight, it will be a massacre. Wow. Maybe by tomorrow. No. Most of you are saying no. Yeah, but we won't have any hanging chads. So, I mean, we remember back then, but Florida was different. 2 or 3 days, Terrence. Melanie says, don't think we'll know. All right, so the majority of you don't think we'll know tonight. I think we might know. Again, the only way we'll know tonight, early tomorrow morning, is if it's a big Trump win. If the states that count early ballots now, early voting, some states don't have to start counting early voting until tomorrow. But the states that have to call it and have to get it in, where the Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania has challenged his poll workers to get the vote counted tonight. Don't let Pennsylvania be dragging out there 3 or 4 days. Get those votes counted tonight. Yeah, right, Lynn? It was 3 o'clock in the morning, like 2016. I remember that quite well, and I remember watching all the meltdown from Rachel Maddow and company. All right, we're going to take a break, 3-minute break. We got Chris Powell coming on at 9:45, and then we're going to give you the lineup for the guests tonight. Going to make an announcement about George Colley in a little while. So there's all those things happening. So stay with us. Big day, Election Day. Woo! This is it. We all been waiting for this one. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Don't go away. All right. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. We're just checking. I'm looking at you guys on YouTube watching. I'm looking at X, checking out. Let me check out Rumble. I want to see how many folks we have on Rumble. Rumble's slower growing, but it is growing. I mean, there is growth. Obviously, my biggest platform is Facebook, and so we've grown again on Rumble, and we got a few folks watching on Rumble. Let me go to Facebook because Facebook is usually a really kind of a big moment for us. And the thing that's interesting, and I'm fine with that. The thing that's interesting about this is that we have more people who watch the show as a recorded piece than live. And got quite a few folks on Facebook too. So let me do this while I'm here. Let me see if I can. Oh yeah, good. Well, that's good. Again, it's funny that Facebook is usually our biggest live audience, but we're happy whenever you watch. Again, if you're watching this as a recorded thing in the afternoon, thank you so much. Facebook, thank you. And by the way, if you're not watching live and you're watching recorded, your likes, comments, and shares still count in the algorithm. It still helps us. And then if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. We'd love to have you as a regular subscriber. All that is you'll get a right. They'll get an alert when the show comes on if they're watching YouTube. Right, it comes up in their subscription. You have to ring the bell. And same thing with Facebook. If you follow me on Facebook, all the same handle, every account, whether it's Twitter, X, Rumble, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify. Yeah, it's all at Will Marotti. It's all the same on all the accounts. So anything that you follow me on, you'll get notification for that. All right, let me share with you tonight what's going to happen, which is very exciting. In my first of all, we've never done. Okay, cool, got that. We've never done an evening show. So this is new territory for us, and so we're excited about it, and we want to do something special, so that's why we're having a live audience, and we'll be ready for the live audience tonight. We're really excited about that. We're going to have some refreshments. I don't know. Think we should do pizza, AT? Have pizza delivered? If you're coming tonight, you're in the chat room, give me a yes or no on pizza. I mean, it'll be later. I mean, it's after 8 o'clock. It's after we've already eaten, but I mean, it'd be fun. We'll definitely have some drinks for you, some refreshment. Non-alcoholic, of course, because you're all driving. But we've got a good lineup for guests. And we're gonna. So let me tell you who we got so far, and we may have one more, but this is a great lineup. 8:15. We're gonna have our first guest at 8:15. He's been on the show numerous times, and I appreciate his opinion, his outlook, his thought. He's 30-year federal prosecutor, former assistant U.S. attorney. David X. Sullivan will be on at 8:15. At 8:30, we're going to have a guest on. Our lifelong liberal turned common sense conservative, Natalie Beisner, will be our guest. At 8:45, I'm so thrilled. First time ever, the mayor of New Britain, Mayor Aaron Stewart, will be our guest. Can't wait. 9:15, a returning guest. You've seen her many times here, out on the West Coast, out in Oregon, Portland. Kristen Sokoloff, KSOC Lower 48, will be our guest, and then we're going to close the show at 9:45 with former Governor John G. Rowland. So that is a powerful lineup. We may have one more to slot in. We're waiting for a confirmation for the 9:30, and then we'll have all of you. It'll be. I can't wait to have. I'm envisioning right now. I'm looking this way because this is where the audience will be. I'm so excited for our live audience. I'm so excited you guys will be here, and I hope you're going to come jazzed up. I hope yeah, sure. That's a kudos to Jazz Shaw, our dear friend. But I hope you're going to come excited. I hope you're going to want to participate and cheer and who knows? I don't know. Can we have a? No, we don't have. Well, we do. We do have an extra microphone. Maybe we'll ask some of the guests if they want to go on air. Now you don't have to. I won't embarrass anybody. We won't. Alex, AT might, but I won't embarrass anybody. But if you want to, maybe you could actually come in and be part of the show. We could do that at 9:30. We got an open spot. If you want to come in and sit down for a few minutes, or we'll keep the interviews short, so we'll have some break time, and we'll come back, and you could you maybe could be part of the show. It's up to you. I mean, I'm happy to do that. Like to do that. But it's a great lineup. David X. Sullivan, Natalie Beisner, Mayor Aaron Stewart, Kristen Sokoloff, and former Governor John G. Rowland. The lineup tonight. It's going to be from 8 o'clock till 10 o'clock. 8:15, 8:30, 9:45, 8:45, 9:15, and 9:30 are the guest. 9:45 are the guest slots, and I think that's just a powerful lineup, and we're looking forward to that. And if you're in the audience, you'll be able to see that on the right. Is that true? They'll be able to see the guests on the big monitor. Yeah, it's not true. No. What if we make this? Can we route this to that? We'll see. So, I mean, I know we're going to have election results on the big monitor, but it'd be great if we could go to the guest monitor so everybody could see the guests in the audience. Okay, AT, the wheels are turning. Tinker. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to have Chris Powell on at 9:45. But, again, it's hard to know. But this is big news. There's four... the big four accounting firms, major international accounting firms, are Price Waterhouse, Ernst & Young, Deloitte, and big one that's in, I believe in England, is KPMG. And they are cutting 4% of their U.S. workforce. So, that's going to be hundreds of jobs. They already laid off earlier in the year 5%, and these are American jobs. They're not cutting UK jobs. They're cutting the 5% were American jobs, 4% more American jobs. So that's hundreds and hundreds of jobs that are being lost that never show up in the job report. So when they say they generated 12,000 jobs, and where is the mainstream media? I can't believe they're not talking about. I don't think I've heard one comment on the lamestream legacy media about only 12,000 jobs created in September. I mean, that's like the lowest number since 2020, at the height of the pandemic. And, we're not hearing any of that. Well, that's Harris Biden for you, because the Harris Biden economy is so good, so strong. Good Lord. Yeah, so I hope you guys are going to be excited, guys that are coming out tonight. I don't know if we're full or not. We may have one spot or two spots. Let me just look at my spreadsheet here. We may have one or two spots available. If you haven't already sent in an email to confirm your attendance or request your attendance, because we're really being very careful who we're letting in. Let's see. Okay, good. I just got word from Mayor Stewart. We're agreeing to go from Mayor Stewart. Everybody else has confirmed, but I got to them late with the video link. Let's see. If you haven't already sent a request to be in the audience tonight, there's a couple more spots. You could do that. Email me at willmarotti@gmail.com. Will Marotti, 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 @gmail.com. If you want to be part of the audience, it's going to be a blast. I can't wait for you guys to be here. We're excited about it. We're making some last-minute studio changes today. AT and I will be doing that just to be ready for tonight, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope that you'll come. I hope that you'll be part of the audience. It's going to be a blast. All right, let's see. This is interesting. There's been this trend the last 15 years, and it's almost like people didn't want to do anything with skilled trades. Mike Rowe does a great job of this, and we do a large event at New Life Church every year with the ABC building group, where we bring in hundreds. I think this year was almost 900. Do you remember, AT? 900 high school students, and they have all kinds of tradespeople set up with displays. We actually had telephone poles installed, and they show the kids how you do lineman work. Shorter, not all the way up, about halfway, and they can climb on the poles and do that. So, mechanics, auto mechanics, HVAC, carpentry, plumbing, um, detection, installation, fire alarm detections, those kind of things. Well, apparently there's starting to be a shift. Up from last year, 55% of Gen Zers are considering a skilled trade career. This is up from 12% last year, including 72% of those that already have a college degree. See, they're figuring out that college is not the best pathway for everybody. And those of you who are English majors or political science majors, you're finding that out. You're finding out that, if you're a women's studies major, you're finding out that this is not exactly the pathway to prosperity and financial freedom. 84% of Gen Zers and their parents express high respect now for skilled trades. That's up from last year. So I'm grateful to see that. I think people are figuring out, it's okay. It's okay to be a skilled labor person. And a lot of times you'll make a lot more money in a skilled. I mean, I'm telling you, I had to get my car fixed last week I talked about the battery dilemma that I faced after the Wolfpack game. $148 an hour at a garage. So $148 an hour. I mean, this is real money. It's real money. Okay, let's see. We have yes, joining us now, the Dean of Connecticut Journalism. Has been writing for years, still writes for local papers, has a column, keeps knocking them out every week. It's impressive. The one and only Chris Powell. Chris, welcome back to the show.
Hey, well, I should have been a plumber.
Well, I don't know. I think you've done a pretty good job of cleaning some pipes on your own right now, but I think you might have had some success. Hey, so big day today. What are you feeling? What's your Spider-Man senses telling you?
Was it Will Rogers who said, I know only what I read in the newspapers? Well, I know only what I see on the internet. My sense is that the polls were moving in Trump's direction. On the other hand, I think the Democrats are fully capable of pulling some ballot stuffing that we won't catch. So I don't think Trump helped himself too much in some of his final remarks. I mean, I've given up any hope that he'll try to act like a normal candidate. But
give me an example of something that you were not
just the intemperate remarks. His statement the other day that he never should have left the White House. His comment about Liz Cheney, was perfectly correct in what he meant to say, but the way that he was saying it, of course, it gave the other side opportunity to misrepresent it.
Right.
Which is the story of the whole campaign. But look, my mind was made up just by my revulsion for the current administration. I just think it has to be removed and repudiated at all costs, even at the cost of Trump.
Yeah. Are you seeing what I'm seeing, that a lot of folks at least have been indicating that early voting seems to be breaking for Republicans, and a lot of early voting that could prove to be when you talk about election fraud and ballot boxes, that so many early votes have been cast around the country, it may already be the die may already be cast, so to speak, if it's going to be a Trump victory.
Yeah, there have been, reports that Republican registrations are high, Republican early voting is high. There have been a number of reports saying that the real vote is going to favor Trump more than the polling returns, because white Democrats answer their telephones and, answer the pollsters' calls, and white Republicans like myself don't answer the telephone. So, look, we're just, if Trump wins, we're going to replace our current set of problems with a different set of problems, and I just hope that Trump runs a saner administration this time, does more governing, in person from the office, and less by
I don't know
Twitter.
Chris, I don't know. There's not argument to be made that the first Trump administration, yeah, sure, he was still he was still unhinged in his comments. But I mean, policy-wise, gosh, things were looking
No,
pretty good.
I agree, but there was chaos, totally unnecessary chaos. By all his inflammatory tweets and comments. I
No,
mean,
but that's all subsided now. Trump's been staying off for the most part. You haven't seen a lot of crazy
yeah,
tweets.
look,
He
the remark about Liz Cheney was,
Well, again, that was ill spoken,
yeah, well,
but
that's
even
what
the
I'm
remark
talking about.
itself was nothing what the
I
media made about it.
I
It wasn't.
listen. I don't want to give the other side opportunities
Yeah, no, I agree. I
to
agree. And that's my
distort.
complaint with Trump. He gives them red meat all the time, which you can't do or you shouldn't do. It doesn't help. It doesn't help the cause. I do you agree that if we know tonight or we know early tomorrow morning, would you say that's pretty much a giveaway that Trump's going to win?
Well, I think if he carries certain states, I mean, there's talk that Virginia and New Hampshire could flip to Trump. I mean, there should be indications if things are really going his way. If the vote is such that the Democrats won't be able to erase the apparent results, by the usual shenanigans they
Mm-hmm.
pull. But look, I don't know. I don't have much trust in Pennsylvania's electoral system. I know there are honest mistakes, everywhere.
Sure,
We had
everybody makes
honest
mistakes. Yeah.
mistakes here in Connecticut. Where was it? Down in Stonington or North Stonington. Some ballots were given to people where the incorrect ballots, and they had to ask them to come back and vote again. I mean, fortunately, they knew who had gotten the incorrect ballots, so at least they could correct things. But you have the ballot box fire bombings out on the West Coast. I mean, if that's not showing people that this is a stupid way of conducting a vote by putting a ballot box collector out in public unguarded, there's a lot of nuttiness in the election system.
Well, I don't know that it'll ever be changed at this point. It's hard to unwind things that are already out there. But again, I feel like single day election, make it a national holiday, close everything, paper ballots, voter ID, which is and quite frankly is what most states do now. Voter ID. There's a few states that don't require it. But I think if we did that on a national basis, I think most people would breathe a sigh of relief that elections would be honest and fair, and we wouldn't have to worry about the people. I mean, I saw videos
Polls
today
show
where
that most people want voter ID, but the
yeah, well,
Democrats
the
will.
majority do. Yeah,
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 the Democrats will not let us have it. Why? Because I think they want election fraud. That's the only explanation for it. I mean, you got to show an ID to buy a beer, but you can just claim to be a U.S. citizen, a resident when you come in to vote. I mean,
I,
I don't care how much beer you have. I do care if the election is secure.
well, good. That gives me comfort for tonight. Then I have your approval on beer consumption. Hey, I was in a grocery store last night, night before, bought some cough medicine. Had to give them an ID. I'm like, is there any question how old I could be? Right? Is there any question that I'm not 18 years old? I had to give an ID. I mean, it happens in so many ways. There's so many cases. Why wouldn't you have voter ID? Why would, again, to your point, why would you object to voter ID unless you had some other thought in mind, right? I mean, it's just
No,
in
you
this day
object
and
to voter
age.
ID if you don't want secure elections. And
Yeah.
look, the Democrats have destroyed the border. They've destroyed housing in the country. They've put all these illegals in Democratic areas where the next census will increase the congressional districting at the expense of Republicans. I mean,
Hmm.
a lot of urban Democrats want to let non-citizens vote. I mean,
Sure.
the Democrats really have got a strategy here, and that strategy involves changing the demographics of the country by letting non-citizens into the country and letting them vote. I mean, the
Yeah.
Democrats are the party of election fraud.
Well, I mean, even Democrats would contest that, but I think history would not. I think you look back at history, and I mean, again, I still believe that Bridgeport was the home of the home of voter fraud.
Well,
But
they're the party of facilitating election
yeah,
fraud. I'm not saying
yeah,
any particular Democrat is engaged in it or any particular candidate, but when we've opened the border the way they've had, when they've made sanctuary states and sanctuary cities, when they're giving government identification documents to illegal immigrants, that makes them the party of at least facilitating election fraud.
I feel like this was in terms of how the campaigns were administered. I feel like Trump did a better job this time than in his prior two runs. I felt like this was a more organized election. I felt like, again, notwithstanding his inability to control what he says at times, but like last night in Pittsburgh, I mean, I was watching and the crowd response when they brought out Roberto Clemente's son, who then endorsed Trump publicly. I mean, I like he's hitting the right buttons. He's hitting the right notes for the crowd, for the voters. Late last night, Joe Rogan, the biggest podcaster in the world, endorsed Trump, which he didn't do in the prior two elections. If anything, he was anti-Trump in 2016. I mean, this guy's got the largest podcast in the world. I think the numbers of the Trump Rogan podcast are near to 40 million views now. I mean, I don't know. He just is getting there. Even Nikki Haley, I read this morning. Nikki Haley sent in an op-ed to the Wall Street Journal yesterday. She's voting for Trump. So, I mean, it seems like when Robert Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard and Hulk Hogan and all these endorsements that he's gotten, I mean, I just feel like he's got the orchestra in a good place right now.
Well, I hope that some people are listening to him and looking at the issues who are not already on his side. I hope Trump rallies are not just Grateful Dead concerts with the same people there at every concert. I mean, is he reaching people with open
Yeah.
minds? Is he reaching people who care about policy, who care about more than just expressing contempt for our government and its politics and the current administration? Look, I agree. I've seen a bunch of his commercials. I can't see him much here in Connecticut because we're not a competitive state, but I see a lot of them on the internet. He's got some great commercials, but then he's got a lot of great material to work with. Given the idiocy of the current administration.
Yeah, it's easy to have great commercials when they're handing it to you on a platter. But the commercials are really good, and I put again to his team. I think his team is making the difference. I think the Robert F. Kennedy alignment is important. I think that's going to bring a lot of Democrats. Again, I say a lot. I don't know what that number is, but I'm saying if it's 2 or 3%, it's a lot because that's how close the race is. I think all of these endorsements have been super important for Trump, and it seems like union people on the Teamsters. It seems like rank and file Teamsters are liking Trump. He may not get their endorsement on the national level from the leadership, but the rank and file seem to be heading in that direction.
Well, the current administration has been steadily destroying the working class with inflation and illegal immigration. The illegal immigration drives down the wage base. It drives up housing costs. This administration is the enemy of the working class. And I think the working class and certainly the labor unions have been a little slow to figure this out.
I agree. Hey, we just got a couple minutes left. I want to hit something that you've recently written because I can't believe it, but I do believe it because you wrote it. And it's a case of a girl in Hartford who apparently graduated from Hartford Public High, unable to read, write, or do basic addition, and then somehow was admitted to the University of Connecticut. What is going on with this, Chris?
Well, the Connecticut Mirror did a great investigative piece a few weeks ago about this girl, and supposedly the Hartford school superintendent's looking into this. What is the important point here is, well, this is a case that's different only in degree, not principal, from the rest of public education in Connecticut. Most kids in Connecticut going through the public school system are not performing at grade level, and they are advanced from year to year and then graduated, even though they have never mastered high school work. This girl is only an extreme example of that. Now, there's been, some sensation about this story, but the legislature is not investigating it. The state education department's not investigating it. The Hartford school superintendent says that, she's looking into it, and that their policy in the Hartford school system is if you see something, say something. And the teachers said they said something, but nobody knows what really happened. My point here is social promotion is the only consistent policy in Connecticut school system. This girl is only the worst example of the result of that policy. And there will be no investigation of this. Our legislators don't want to know about the failure of public education. They just want to keep throwing money at it. Social promotion will, remain the policy. We could do something about it. We could change from social promotion to some sort of accountability, but we won't do it. And this story that the Mirror did really just shows the rot of the whole system.
Trump says he's going to close down, among other things, once his Secretary of Cost Cutting, Elon Musk, is in place. Trump said he's going to close down the Department of Education federally.
Look, the Department of Education exists only to pander to the teacher unions, and our current education commissioner, education secretary, Miguel Cardona, who you're familiar with from Meriden, is a national disaster. We could do without him, and yes, we could do without the federal education department, because it's just an annex of the teacher unions.
But my question is, and my concern, Chris, is, and I'm in favor of shutting down the Department of Education, 100%. Several other departments I'm in favor of shutting down. But if you do that, and then it all goes back, now the states are in control. The states are in control completely of their education system. Is it going to make these kind of situations with the education abuse of this young woman, is it going to make it even worse?
Well, it'll be up to the states. One of the success stories in public education in recent years, I believe, has been the improvement. I think it's Mississippi has been reforming its education. It's either Mississippi or Alabama. Mm-hmm. They're getting much better results now. They're concentrating on raising standards and improving education in the lower grades where it all starts. But look, the bottom line here is kids who don't have parents have got 2 strikes against them. And, probably a third or more of the kids in the country do not have 2 parents.
Yeah. No, I agree. Amen completely. Well, I'll be staying up late tonight. Hopefully we'll have some things to be happy about in the morning. We'll see. But Chris, thank you so much again. Always a pleasure. Appreciate your work. Appreciate you staying at it and cleaning the pipes of some of these areas of the country, that particularly education. But we'll hopefully we'll have some good things to talk about next week. Chris Powell, everybody, the dean of journalism here in Connecticut. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Will.
Chris Powell, everybody. All right, hey, that's it. We are out of time. Good show today. Wow, good volume in the chat room. Thank you so much. Tonight, it's going to be a great night. Exciting. Election returns here. 8 o'clock will be on all the platforms, and we'll go till 10. And I don't think we won't know by 10. But if Georgia and North Carolina have declared Trump by 10 o'clock, I think we're going to have a great night. I really think we're going to have a great night. We'll see. But again, we've got a couple. I think there's two available spots. If you'd like to come in for the live audience, thank you, PK. If you'd like to come in for the live audience, let me just look here. We can accommodate you, but you got to email me this morning because I'm going to be absolutely out of time in a little bit here. So send the email. Where am I? Here I am. Send the email. I love this. Send the email willmarotti@gmail.com. Say you'd like to come for the show tonight. You can come for an hour, 2 hours, 15 minutes, whatever you want to do. We're open. I'm excited about it. So it's going to be a great show tonight. Again, guests, let me just give you again our guest lineup. This is so exciting. Best lineup of guests we've ever had. 8:15, we have David X. Sullivan, 30-year federal prosecutor. 8:30, lifelong liberal turned conservative, common sense conservative Natalie J. Beisner calling in from California. 8:45, first-time guest in this format, Mayor of New Britain, Mayor Aaron Stewart will be on. 9:15, Kristen Sokoloff from Portland will be on. And then we'll be wrapping up the show at 9:45 with former Governor John G. Rowland. And hopefully maybe a 9:30 guest as well. Otherwise, we're going to throw some audience in the seat here and let them talk about it, maybe. All right, hey, if you haven't, get out and vote. Pray for the country. Pray for Trump. That's all I can say. Pray for America. Thank you so much. Thank you, LJ. Thank you, AT. Gigi will be with us tonight, and it'll be a great show tonight. Our election night coverage, 8 o'clock tonight. Don't miss it. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your day. I love you. See you tonight at 8 o'clock.